Yeah, we still have to ask the owner if Wes can smoke the cigar in there. John got one last night. It's from the 40s. It'll light up, it just won't taste very good.
My Goodness to me is one of those bands out these days that has a classic sound without sounding old. It's new and heavy, but it's definitely built on older material instead of just a standard evolution from punk. It's got some meat to it and some real substance to it. And so I decided to emphasize that by having the video take place in the 1940s. But because it was new and fresh, the theme of the video is that if this music were to actually be in the 1940s, it would have been too much for them to handle, and the real genius behind it would have been lost. And that's kind of our character as our projectionist character played by John Farley. He's kind of the guy that has this really progressive idea that's really cool, but the world just wasn't ready at the time.
This camera design goes back to the 1930s, actually the mid-30s. This was the preferred camera of the Nazis, actually, for filming lots of things that were going on. But after the war, they sold them in the United States.
And that projector that we saw in the video, that's yours as well?
That is mine. Both of these belong to my grandfather. He had been shooting 8mm amateur movies in the late 40s, and I think he decided that it was time to step up to the next level, and so he got this really nice camera and projector. Actually, the footage that the characters are watching in the theater is from a film shot by John's grandfather with that camera. Okay, as soon as that fog dissipates enough, I'll let you know when it's time. Okay. We settled on the historic Bob White Theater, which has been closed for the past 27 years. It's not actually open yet, but it's just right now being restored, and they had a community party there like the day before we shot. So the timing was just perfect on that. And then the entrance scenes at the Academy Theater about 10 blocks away, because they did a really good job of preserving their entranceway to look like the 1940s. The barn that we shot the band in was an interesting experience. It's a barn built in 1914, which definitely qualifies for something that would exist in the 40s, because it did. There were a couple owls above us watching the whole time. Occasionally they would, what were they, puking? Or were they shitting?
No, it's cough it. They're called pellets, I think. But they cough it up. It's like a hairball.
Okay, so they were coughing up owl hairballs onto the set. They were landing about maybe 3 feet behind the band. Probably shouldn't talk about that.
Yeah, do it again. So it'll be like. Yeah.
Rolling. Rolling.
Okay, Rachel?
We gotta wait for Rachel.
I never thought I would do a period piece, because I always considered period pieces to be something that only large production companies do, with like when they have a lot of money to account for every last little detail, because I've always known that the most effective period pieces are the ones that don't leave any detail out at all, and that's the most impressive part. But I found that it actually was a lot of fun to make a period piece within a budget constraint. It was a lot of fun going to like antique stores and talking to the owners who were fascinated with what we were doing and just had a wealth of knowledge.
Pantry, 7-Eleven.
It's the budget, huh?
Yeah.